Hi, welcome to this one-on-one discussion. This is not IAS related. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it might be, I don't know. But I'm here joined with Mr. Brandel. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, you lowly peasants. I'm Brandon, and yeah, let's get this party started because science.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about. Just bigger topics. It's a small thing, but bigger topics, so it kind of balances out. But you wanted to talk about Monster Hunter World and the beta, correct?
Yes, and plus the crossovers they're having with like Mega Man and Horizon Zero Dawn.
Hmm. So I'll let you take the floor with that one.
Well, as far as the crossover is concerned, I find it interesting that Sony is actually letting Capcom use their new I guess mascot now from Horizon. Cause this is her first game. She's not even a year old yet as a character that's been launched, and she's already got this brand recognition to a point where she's in as a guest character in another game that's identical to, I guess you could say identical to what her game is and vice versa. So I find that interesting that they're doing this.
Hmm.
So yeah, I can't wait to play as her if she has her own unique movesets and her weapons.
Yeah.
And as far as,
Oh,
oh sorry, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say I think it's pretty interesting too because it's like they actually have her bow and arrow to use as one of the weapons, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they transition her stuff from another RPG. But time will tell. I wish they actually showed more gameplay in PSX, but uh, what a shit show that was. But
Mm.
besides that, though, we're also getting a Mega Man skin for our cat companions, which I found interesting. Now we'll get into Mega Man later, though, but I find it funny that Mega Man is making a comeback now all of a sudden. It seems like next year is going to be your anniversaries, which we'll get into soon with other topics.
Yeah, I think with the Mega Man thing, it's like that was kind of cool because especially that happened after the whole like, oh hey, we're gonna be porting Mega Man X games over to PS4 and Xbox One and PC and Switch. And then they were gonna be, and then they came out after that, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, Mega Man 11 is gonna be a thing." Um, which that's another topic that we'll get to in a moment. But it's like I think that's like cool little cross promotion just to get people like ready. Like, hey, Monster Hunter World is coming out soon. And if you're looking forward to like Mega Man, or if you don't even know anything about Mega Man, and you want to know about Mega Man, you can like start jumping in on these like ports that are coming over to PS4 and Xbox One, PC, and Switch, and then also look forward to the upcoming Mega Man game. Um,
Oh,
oh, go ahead.
no, no, nothing.
I was gonna say, but on the topic of the beta, I did play a little bit with Arian and James, and I thought it was fun. Um, I have never played Monster Hunter, so I don't know like what I could really critique. I'm not very good with like melee weapons, so I think like if I were to like buy that game and play the full version, I'd probably stick with like ranged weapons because I had a lot of fun with the it was like the one of the guns that you can get, and then also the bow and arrow. I just felt like it was more fun to like support like friends while using like ranged weapons like that.
Right.
Mm.
Oh no. But for me in the beta is that wow, I had a lot of fun with it though, because it's been quite some time since I played a last full-fledged Monster Hunter game. It was back on the PSP. Yeah, remember those days?
Oh yeah.
But so far, my only critique is the Nintendo style invite system because, as you know, Nintendo didn't have the same friends list thing. At least as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to say something misinformation though. But the way to have it for Monster Hunter is that you enter this like code to actually go into one of your friends' lobbies, which they carry over here though, which I found interesting because we have like a generation of consoles now. So can we actually get a more reliable no invite system. But that being said, though, my biggest gripe so far, which is not the biggest issue, is how not as fluid the gameplay is as it should be. I feel like the game is still a little too stiff that follows the trend of the old Monster Hunter games.
Mm. How do you feel about MT Framework and its latest iteration, since Capcom decided to kind of backpedal with never using it again now that it's being used again with World?
They hold a frame, that's for certain. All the crap that would be doing on screen is amazing how it didn't just kill itself.
Mm-hmm. I was really a big fan of the character models and also the lighting. Like, I thought the lighting was really just great. And I'd like to see, like, other Capcom games kind of get the same treatment with a, whether it be, like, a revitalization of an old Capcom title or, just like a remake or something using that engine. I just think it would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I like how the day and night cycle. Whenever you're middle of a mission, if you fail, it will be like really dark or cloudy. When you fail the mission, because time transition over to 20 minutes, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the whole graphical effects they have going on for it.
Mm. Yeah, I thought like visually the game just looked really pretty. Even if you chose like the frame rate over like the visuals, it still looked really nice.
Well, speaking of which, though, I find it kind of weird to have graphics and resolution separate. Would that technically be under the same category?
Depends, because I think the resolution mode is probably like a mix between, kind of like how Neo has the uncapped mode.
Right.
So I'm thinking it's kind of like that, where you can have the resolution and you can have an uncapped frame rate, but do note that it's gonna the frame rate's gonna be all over the place. Whereas like if you want to choose visuals, you're gonna be capped at like 30, and if you choose frame rate, you're gonna be capped at 60, but you're gonna take a hit in visuals. But like I said before, I think the visuals just look nice even with the game being capped at 60.
Right. Okay, yeah. I just find it kind of strange, though. I will assume, like, resolution still fall under graphical fidelity, though, but I don't know. I'm not a developer. I don't know the technical terms behind all that stuff, so I guess I just leave it as that.
Yeah, it might just be simple miswording, because that could always happen, too.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So, I don't know if there's any more thoughts to be shared on this particular topic, but we could move on to the next one if you want.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's do that.
So, I'll let you take the floor on this one, because I know jack shit about Street Fighter. The only thing I know is that, because we're going to be talking about the collection and also the season pass stuff, I could at least say something about the collection at least, because, I mean, that I have, like, maybe, like, a hypothetical as to, like, what Capcom might be planning with future, ports and stuff like that, but that's about it, so I'll let you take the floor on this one as well.
Well, since we're talking about the year anniversaries, Street Fighter is getting a 30-year anniversary collection involving 12 different games. And, well, it's not technically different games. You're getting iterations of set Street Fighter game. Like, for example, Street Fighter 2. You're getting the original, Championship, Hyper Fighting, new challengers. That's Super, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And Turbo, or X as it is overseas. And then we're getting the Alpha games, all three, except for Max, unfortunately. And we're getting all three Street Fighter 3 games. As far as Third Strike is concerned, I'm going to assume that it's going to be the online edition from PS3. That's my assumption. I don't know if it's going to be arcade or not.
Mm.
Now, with that being said, though, this collection, I think it's kind of lacking in a few games. Like, we should at least gotten Max or Hyper Street Fighter 2. Because since Hyper has the Edition Select, and Max is arguably the best version of Alpha 3 you could get.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, though, I do honestly think we should have gotten the Ultra Street Fighter 2 port that was on the Nintendo Switch. Because heck, the Nintendo Switch is getting this collection too, so I think it would be fair for like everybody to get the package. Yeah. But at the same time, though, that would probably jump up the price, and given how this collection here is $40, and so is Ultra 2 on Switch.
Yeah, I think you know, we were talking about it, and we were talking about how like almost half the collection is Street Fighter 2 and like all of its iterations. Um, so you're really only getting like um, a total of like 5 games. Two games in particular having their, you know, different iterations, and then just uh, the original. So it's basically the original Street Fighter 2 in a lot of its iterations, not all of them, but a lot of them. The Alpha series, and then Street Fighter 3 and some of its iterations. And you know, and we were talking about how like how they should have at least picked the more up-to-date iterations of Street Fighter 2 instead of having like all these different versions. It really should have only consisted of like maybe like 5 games in total, and just, you know, kept it at the most up-to-date. But I mean, for anybody that, you know, might want to get into Street Fighter and they might not have played the previous Street Fighter games, or maybe they're interested in collecting, but they don't want to have to buy like all the different, like hunt down all the different copies of those games on whatever platforms that they originated on. So, you know, this could be just more for like convenience for anybody that's looking to like collect and play those games. But one thing that I know we were talking a little bit about this, but one thing that this was kind of making me curious is, you know, if they're doing like all these collections, like, you know, we saw Okami, we saw like the Mega Man collections that they were doing, Devil May Cry HD, which we're going to talk about later as well, but also now this collection, could we be seeing like more Capcom collections from like both titles that they, or franchises that they like support a lot, and also franchises that might not get so much support? You know, what do you think about that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? The last part. I was reading something.
The last part is just you know, the possibility that because we're seeing collections like Street Fighter collection, and now you know, we're seeing like DMC HD getting another port, and we're seeing like Okami and all these like Mega Man games getting ported and stuff like that. Do you think that there's a possibility that Capcom might consider bringing not only like their niche titles, but also some of their like remasters and ports of franchises that they do still focus on, as opposed to franchises that are dead? Just kind of like a mix of everything, just to get people like interested in their stuff again.
Yeah, I see the possibility of bringing stuff over again, because they not too long ago they did mention that they want to bring more stuff over to the Switch, because how successful that is, and whatnot. So it's a possibility of them bringing other games as well, and not just the mainstays. However, it is a hypothetical, because Capcom cannot afford to like well, and I said not afford though. I don't know. Can they take the risk of actually porting over a game that may not be successful? Because I know people are begging for another Demento, or hunting ground, as other people call it.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff like that. I mean, you know, I think the bigger debate is like, or question is like, if they bring it over, will it have the success and popularity that it never got? And I mean, I think like they really should look into like bringing games like that back, like from like games that they have that are like niche. Like, I'd love to see like a Chaos Legion HD remaster, because visually that game has not aged so well. Even with like a component to HDMI converter, it just doesn't look as great as it could. But also stuff like Onimusha and whatnot, it'd be really nice to see. And Onimusha is like one of their bigger franchises, so it's like stuff like that. I think like it would be nice to see, but it's all a matter of, are they willing to invest in doing stuff like that as far as remasters and ports are concerned, and also just a matter of, can it become popular or, get back its popularity again? It's like it's lots of questions to ask about that kind of stuff.
Well, for Onimusha though, the biggest
So
Achilles heel
you wanted
for
to talk about the Street Fighter, what is it, the season pass, the third season pass or year 3 pass, right?
Yeah, well, before I do that though, as far as Onimusha is concerned, their biggest Achilles heel is the licensing. So that's something they gotta work out first before they do anything. Um, the
Yeah,
the worst case scenario
the likenesses
is
for the
the worst case scenario is they will bring over Donald Dreams over the original 3. That would be the biggest worst case scenario ever, considering how mediocre the game is.
Ew. Ew. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that, ew. Just no, like, oh man, like, in that game, it's like, the thing with that game is like, there are people that want to see it, no doubt, but the thing with that game, it's like, and I know this is off topic, but, there are things that it did right, but there's like a lot of things that just, are kind of underwhelming or not up to par of the quality of the previous 3 mainline games. So it's just like, I'd rather they stick away from that with like a 10-foot pole, but, some people want it. So I don't really want to say no to the people that want it, but at the same time, it's just like,
I can.
You can, yeah. But yeah, you wanted to talk about the season 3 characters, correct?
Yeah, briefly though. Well, season 2, to some people is considered disappointment. I found it to be heck a lot better than season 1 because most of the season 1 characters are freaking garbage. But that being said though, we finally got Sakura back because that's been requested, and we have the boy Bob Saget, Sagat.
Oh yeah, I saw like people were also liking the fact that like all the characters were revealed as opposed to just kind of teasing a few and then hiding the rest away for later.
Yeah, that was probably the most frustrating and annoying part though. We don't know who we get until like near the release of that set character. So we finally got everybody out there like, oh, thank you God, we know who we get, and now we can actually be excited and look forward to the character rather than just playing private investigator and trying to figure out who is this character, what edge is the silhouette though, who could this be?
Yeah,
that kind of crap. Like seriously, that got really annoying fast with season 1. So thankfully they got rid of that crap now, and hopefully forever. Whenever Street Fighter 5 is still relevant.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, and I know like I kind of gave Capcom shit for kind of mistreating the fans with that game and how they kind of handled that sort of game. Of course, now I don't know if I can say that with Marvel Infinite being a thing, but like I'm not into fighting games, so I'll leave my piece from a business practice standpoint and at that. Like if people are liking it and if they're enjoying it and now they're getting an even better game and they're doing much better with it, then that's a good thing. Like I don't think people don't want to see that happen, because it's just one of those things where it's like it's always nice to see things get fixed and catered to in a much better manner.
Yeah.
So so I don't know if you want to transition to the Mega Man news.
Yeah, we can do that.
So Mega Man, we've got lots of Mega Man. Mega Man X Collection, all 8 games coming to practically everything. Mega Man 11 being a thing, and the brand is basically being reborn. I've never played any of the X games. I do own, I believe it is 4 and 5 on PS1, and I do have some of the games, like some of the other Mega Man games on digitally on PlayStation 3. But it is a franchise that I've been meaning to get to. But hearing this news about like the entire Mega Man X collection, like just the whole series is being ported over to practically everything is pretty cool, because if it's kind of like the thing with like trying to get into a franchise you've never played.
Right.
It makes it more convenient.
No, yeah, most definitely. My hope is they also add in Command Mission, the turn-based RPG placed in the Mega Man X series.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're technically 9 games though, but I don't know if Command Mission is canon or where it fits into the timeline.
Mm.
But I hope they do add in that game at least, because it would be weird to have all 8 games minus Command Mission.
Yeah.
So we should at least get all 9 total.
I know we talked a little bit about like what was it, X7, because that was the one where it was like that was like really different, right?
Yeah.
So, and we were discussing like how would that game even look, because it's it's got them PlayStation 1 graphics as opposed to like the 16.
No, it's PS2.
Oh, is it?
7's on PS2.
Is it? Okay,
so
yeah. I don't know why I was thinking it was PS1.
You're thinking of Mega Man 3 and Mega Man X3 through 6. Those were
okay,
PS1.
Yeah. That might have been it. Yeah, but that just goes to show you I have not played all of these games, so eventually I will. But it's like we were kind of discussing like how is that game going to look visually, because of the platform that it was originally on and how that game looked, and how are they going to make it look, bringing it over to PS4, PC, Xbox One, and Switch.
Another debate that came up actually is how they're gonna port Mega Man X3. Is it gonna just be like the original Mega Man X collection on PS2 and GameCube? Because I think in that particular version they use the PS1 version of Mega Man X3 instead of the SNES version. Because some people actually did want to use the SNES version over the PS1. I think the PS1 version had a different soundtrack that I'm assuming people didn't like as much as the original. But Capcom didn't have the option of one or the other. So I'm assuming that this is going to be the exact same collection though, but being in HD as far as the original games are concerned, I do not know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because now that you bring that up, like, are they gonna have like an option, or are they gonna force one over the other? And that would suck if they would force one over the other. I think they should leave the option in there, because some people might prefer one over the other, or vice versa. So it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like they should at least maybe have an option for it, because I'm sure there would be enough room on the disc to have that sort of thing put in there.
Well, it's a Blu-ray. It should.
Yeah, there should be, because I mean, considering how small these games should be by comparison, I mean, it's like there's 8 games on one disc, so it's like, yeah, there should be. But then there's also Mega Man 11, and I want to know your thoughts on that, because I don't think I've ever heard your thoughts on 11.
Now, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I'm not the biggest classic Mega Man fan. The only one that piqued my interest was Mega Man 8, because that was the closest thing to the X games we got from the classic series, as far as like aesthetics and the way the game feels. Now, as far as Mega Man 11, this game actually did pique my interest because they threw away nostalgia. They completely threw that away with Mega Man 9 and 10. Because they went back to the Mega Man 2 route to catch the nostalgia of those people who love Mega Man 2 so much, to a point where they stripped away gameplay elements instead of adding. With Mega Man, just to clarify, those games aren't bad, just they're not for me. Just want to point it out there. Now with 11, on the other hand, though, they actually went to the drawing boards and actually combined elements from Classic and X, what people love about it, specifically in the US, and actually craft a ideal game. They're not using nostalgia like they did with Mega Man 9 and 10, like I mentioned. They're actually gonna bring back old abilities that were staples since I want to say Mega Man 3 or 4, like the slide and charge shot and whatnot, because those two mechanics were in the last 2 games. And they got rid of the whole 8-bit style, which I loved, because 8-bit style, the way they did it is a bit dated to my taste. So I like the new style they're going with. Okay, it looks it's still Mega Man. It's fluid.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
I was gonna say like to me and I want to bring up the video that you shared with me earlier too, but like what I was gonna mention too, like as far as the visuals are concerned, like to me it looked a lot like Mighty Number 9 if it was good, you know, like. And I know that's like a really bad comparison because Mighty Number 9 is dog shit and everyone talks about its cheese pizza.
Well, everybody is egging on Mighty Number 9 now thanks to Mega Man 11 because the game aesthetically looks identical but so much better, and the game didn't finish yet.
Yeah. And you know, I like that said though, I mean, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying it more as like hey, you know, look at this. It looks like what Mighty Number 9 should have been, but it wasn't, you know? So, I mean, and I'm sure, like, as more gameplay and stuff comes out, it'll look even better, but as far as it's concerned, it's, like, the whole idea of, like, them, you know, changing the visuals and whatnot, I mean, it's fine. I mean, the whole idea of it should be more about, does it play like Mega Man, and does it feel like Mega Man? Because if it doesn't, then, like, it's irrelevant whether or not it you know, looks 8-bit or not. It's almost like the whole argument with Resident Evil, if it should be fixed camera angle or OTS. It should be more about, does it feel like an actual Resident Evil title. Too bad Resident Evil 7 can't say that for itself. But you know, with 11, I mean, they've even had previews saying that it feels a lot like the classic series, just, you know, more up to date. The video that you showed me, I really enjoyed that, because you remember the how they mentioned like the Koji Oda quotes.
Yes.
I want to say too, like on record, like, Capcom, make this man the CEO, please. Because, like, for whatever reason, every time I hear Koji Oda talk about anything Capcom related, it kind of just feels like he has an understanding of what the franchises that he's working with should be like, even if he has no prior background in working on those franchises. It's like he's almost played these franchises before and just knows, like, this is not what Capcom is. This is what Capcom is.
It's funny that you say that, actually, because he made his team play all the classic games and Mega Man X games from start to finish to get a better understanding, taking notes about it.
Yeah.
For Mega Man 11.
That's even, like, I thought that was really cool because it was like, not only did he do that, but he also, like, handpicked who was on the development team. So he picked people that worked on previous Mega Man games. He's picked people that have been at Capcom for a long time but haven't worked on Mega Man games, and then he picked new development team members that have never worked on anything like Mega Man related but really wanted to work on a Mega Man game. And I just thought that was really cool because it's like, it seems like, you know, as far as Koji Oda is concerned and how he works as a developer, like, he has like almost like this idea of like what should be done and in a development sense, and like how things should be handled from a development team standpoint, and just kind of like what was it, the other thing too, like he was talking about how like he went through like forums and like message boards, but for like American fan bases, just to get an idea of what people really wanted. And it, to me, that just kind of screams like he has like this passion almost to bring Capcom back to this back to their glory days, you know? Oh, Brandon? Oh, Brandon's... But yeah, when that's all like concerned and whatnot, I'm really just I'm really interested to see like what he can do as far as Mega Man is concerned, because even in the video that Brandon had showed me, it there apparently Koji Oda had never had any prior background to Mega Man, so for me that just comes off as very interesting. But what do you think about that, Brandon?
Okay, sorry, I had to step out real quick. I'm sure you saw the chat on that, but what was your question?
Oh well, originally I was asking you like if it was just me, but it kind of seems like Koji Oda has like this passion to kind of bring back like Capcom to their former glory days, and also just the idea of him working on a Mega Man game, but this is his first time ever working on a Mega Man game.
Yeah, it seemed like, yeah, he definitely has that old school passion inside him. Which I really respect though, because I heard nothing about this guy at all. Like, I know nothing about this man, and hearing him talk in that specific video about how he want to go back with Mega Man and preserve his legacy, I'm like, okay, I like this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've only known him from the Resident Evil Zero HD remastered Dev Diaries, because they brought him back on board for that game. And when I heard him talk about Resident Evil, I was like, why isn't he at the helm of like what the more recent games are, being developed into? Because it sounds like he has a better idea of what Resident Evil should be than some of the other developers that have been working on Resident Evil as of late. So I definitely do like his kind of mentality of developing games and whatnot, because it just kind of, to me, it just seems like he has this idea of like, again, like what these franchises should be like, and definitely like this old school thinking of like, this is what Capcom should be, as opposed to let's just make a quick cash grab.
Oh yeah, yeah. Capcom should definitely follow on his example.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think the last bit of the topic is the rebirth of the brand.
Yes, like after 7 years, we finally got a Mega Man game after that fraud that KJ Inafune left. You remember in the video, they canceled all these games because the captain, like the guy said, the captain of the ship is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So like they couldn't continue on with the Mega Man game, so they had no choice but to cancel it. I find it interesting that it took them 7 years to actually make a new game, but hopefully this actually is the beginning of a new era for Mega Man. We're actually going to get more games outside of just classic. I want a Mega Man X9. Maybe do like an improved Mega Man Zero, do another Star Wars game, something, or perhaps do their own version of Mega Man Legends 3.
They, I think a lot of people also would also want a, I said also twice, but I think a lot of people would really want to see Legends 3, because of the whole like controversy surrounding that. I think if they brought that back, then people would be a little bit more comfortable with Capcom and the direction that they're heading with, because I do see a lot of people talking like about 11 too, and they're like, oh, this looks good, but hopefully it actually comes out and doesn't get canceled, because that people still hold that grudge against Capcom, and
I don't blame them.
and it's I almost compare it to like the DMC thing, where like, oh, Capcom comes out with a reboot for Devil May Cry that never needed to happen, and not only that, but, or at least in the case of Mega Man, they cancel a game that people really wanted to see, and when people get upset, what happened? They got insulted. So I think people don't tend to forget that kind of thing. So if they could be somehow redeemed in that sense, then bringing back Legends 3, I think would definitely be something to do. Especially if Mega Man is coming back in like full force. But I definitely get why people would want like an X9 too, because like that stuff is popular. People want that.
This is coming from a big Mega Man X fan. Please make X9, Capcom. I command you.
Yeah. So
I guess we could move on to the next topic.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to talk about on this one. So Devil May Cry. I have not talked about Devil May Cry in a long time. Big reason why is because a lot of it just turned into rumor mill and speculation and just it was just the same thing. You know, it was just beating a dead horse. And granted, a lot of the times whenever I talked about Devil May Cry, people would come and watch because they wanted to know. They wanted to know, is Devil May Cry coming back? And it sort of is, but we'll get to that. But as far as this is concerned, you know, we had the rumors with quote unquote Devil May Cry 5 with the Roman numeral. And if I'm not mistaken, the rumor or the leak was that it's coming, but they pushed it back to E3. Like the reveal for it, at least.
Yes, this particular leak or leaker did called it when it comes to its leaks. Like for example, the Injustice 2 DLC packs and something else in
Soul Calibur 6.
Not just Soul Calibur, something else in between those lines. Well, yeah, they predicted Soul Calibur 6 at PSX, which actually came sooner than PSX though, but it was still at PSX nonetheless.
Yeah.
But he also did mention that it's a possibility that it could be at PSX or it could be at the next event coming up, which is actually E3, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, hell, you know what? It could even, hypothetically speaking, because we don't know if this game exists, but hypothetically speaking, you know, they could announce it sooner because we have the HD collection coming again, right? But that's a whole nother subject that we will lead into. But that is something where it's like, okay, is it happening? Is it not? We also had afterwards Dan Southworth, or specifically his agent on his account, Susan, respond saying that the credibility of the leaks seemed to be legitimate. If I'm not mistaken, that's what it was, or is something along those lines.
He couldn't speak on it per se though, but he hopes it happens, or whoever's the one's on account.
Yeah, it was like something about it, like it seemed legitimate, but they can't speak on it per se because of like NDA and whatnot, and credibilities and whatnot. But that kind of, I think, got people like riled up, like, oh my god, like Dan Southworth or whatever is talking about it, right? And it was a big deal, right? I don't know about you, but personally, when I heard that, I was just like the previous 3 or 4 leaks, I'm gonna take it with a huge heap of salt, because every time somebody says it's coming, it doesn't come, and people get mad, and that's what happened.
Well, in this particular leaker though, he seems to have a lot of credibility now, especially after the Soul Calibur 6. So, I'm pretty sure he said the thing at the end where it may or may not be at PSX to save his behind, which, to his credit though, he did say that, so...
Yeah.
It was a 50-50 game, but everything he mentioned was true, so he may be up to something though. And Capcom probably caught on to it, or whoever.
Yeah, it was, well, and that and just PSX in general was mostly a talk show anyway, but that's a whole nother topic. That was such a fucking snore fest. But yeah, the credibility of the leaks now, it's just, or the rumor at least, is I would say it's heightened. Like I don't know about you, but I feel like it's heightened just because, you know, like Soul Calibur 6 happened and that was true, you know, like and it's cool that it was true, you know. It's like, if it wasn't true, it would have been like, okay, oh well, it's another leak, it's another rumor. But because it turned out to be true, there's something like lingering about that, like, okay, so this happened, when is this other thing gonna happen?
Yeah, like, come on, Capcom.
And then that leads into Kamiya. Kamiya wants to not only remake Devil May Cry 1, Beautiful Joe, and then also a DMC Cross Bayo. Like, he wants all of that. What is your take on that, since I know you're a big Bayo fan?
Kamiya, make it happen. Capcom, make it happen, though. But, depends on the terms, though. Do not screw it up. And don't show any bias between one and the other character, that's all.
Yeah.
You know, they always gotta be some type of bias when it comes to crossovers.
Yeah,
That's all.
I think it would have to be fair, as far as like the crossover is concerned. But I like the idea of it because I think like, and I don't know about you, but I think they could like definitely take some aspects where, you know, some things work in Devil May Cry that could possibly help out Bayonetta improve as a franchise, and vice versa for Bayonetta, where some things really work well in Bayonetta that could also help out with Devil May Cry and its growth as a franchise.
Oh yeah, most definitely. As well, they are identical playstyles, so I don't see why not.
Mm.
The difference is one is more free flow than the other.
Yeah. And then also too with like the remake that he wants to do, I'm not against the idea of it. I'm just kind of, my only concern, and I know you've disagreed with me on this, but my only concern is like how much of a like remake and how is this going to play, because like is this going to be like more of a remake where it still plays like the original and it's just a graphical update, if anything, or is this going to be like, hey, we're adding new things, we're updating the gameplay, and the gameplay thing kind of concerns me too, because is it going to play more like Bayo, or is it going to actually play more like Devil May Cry 3 and 4? Because that's I think more people would like to see that as opposed to it being played like Bayo. So stuff like
that's the thing though. If they're gonna do that though, they should like not, because Bayo has his own identity and so is Devil May Cry. But
Yeah.
as far as crossover is concerned, I don't mind them sharing both elements.
yeah.
But as far as a remake is concerned, crap, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. As far as the them being a remake though, I'm not opposed to it either. Just how they're gonna do it though. Is it gonna be full fledged like you mentioned? I hope it's full fledged, because no point of wasting resources on just a big graphical bump.
Yeah, I think like too like because they could take like MT framework, and could you imagine like Devil May Cry 1 looking as good as like Devil May Cry 4? Like it would just be so cool. But this could also like, I know there are some people that were like against the idea, but I would like to see it too, just for the possibility that, hey, you know, if Devil May Cry 1's remake is successful, maybe Capcom would look into remaking Devil May Cry 2 and also possibly 3. You know, and 3 would probably need the like minimal updates as far as that's concerned, like just style switching and you know, other sorts of things, but mostly just visuals. But like 1 and 2, I think would definitely benefit from overhauls in gameplay and just, you know, reworked mechanics and whatnot, and then also the graphical update. Whereas 3, it's just more of a just add a few mechanics here and there, or maybe rebalance some things with that graphical update. I feel like 3 would probably be the easier one to remake as opposed to 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah.
Especially 2, because 2 needs a lot of the reworking, but
I'll say 1 is more in desperate need than 2, because 2 is definitely the more modern one.
oh yeah,
Despite the popular belief though, 2 it definitely has more refined mechanics than 1 did.
2 has a I will agree with this. 2 has the better control scheme. 2 basically is a bare bones version of what we have in like 3 and 4.
Exactly.
1's control scheme is very and they did try to rework it on the HD collection, but it's very bare bones, you know, like, and it doesn't work well. It hasn't aged well. And then that leads us to the HD collection. So what are your thoughts on that? Because
well,
yeah,
I want a physical copy, and I want triple plat again. I'm a nut.
How do you feel about DMC3 finally getting a potentially good PC port this time around?
About time. All the games are on PC now, so you know what that means.
Yes, mods. Yes, that's the best part. It's like we're gonna get mods. So I'm assuming it'd be easier to carry over the costume models or whatever over to the other games now because of that, but I don't know.
Probably.
I'm not a modder, so. But something that had me curious about this is that it got announced. And that just doesn't make sense that they would just announce another port of Devil May Cry, of all things. Especially doing it for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I know some people wanted a Switch version.
I'll get on that topic later.
Yeah, that's another thing we could talk about too. But just them doing it and then also wanting to do it so soon. Like something just doesn't add up. Like something's missing, especially when you have the leaks into consideration.
Also, not only that though, Capcom UK said they were going to do a 16th anniversary stream of Devil May Cry 1, but I'm not sure it was this year or next year they're going to do that stream.
Mm-hmm.
So take that in consideration though. Something's big going to happen with Devil May Cry at one point.
Yeah,
I mean, they have to announce a new game now. Bayonetta is getting a third game.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like there's something's going on. Like that you can't just be like, okay, we're gonna announce the HD collection, and then just kind of not say any more than that. And not only that, but it's like so soon. It's like they're almost like planning for something, you know, like something is being prepared. Like I don't know if I'm expecting like DMC4 SE levels of teasers where they do like, oh wait, and one more thing, and then you know just announce the fucking 5th game or like tease the 5th game.
Oh, you know how hype that would be? Man, people would be screaming up and down.
People would just be like, Capcom, take my money. Oh man, but I don't know, like, and that too, it kind of goes into the subject of like, you know, they're doing all these other remasters like we talked about earlier. You know, could this be a thing where like they're trying to bring back some of their dormant franchises like Devil May Cry?
Oh yes, after DMC, man, I thought Devil May Cry would be dead forever. But nope, we got 4 special edition and we got an HD collection all on PS4 and PC now, and I'm happy about that. So, give us the next game, please.
Yeah. So, and then I guess we could end off on people wanting a Switch version for the HD collection. How do you feel about that?
Now, okay, now goes to the Nintendo fanboys. Like, look, I understand you guys. I feel you. You want more games on your platform, but developers are not obligated to support the platform if they don't want to. Okay, because it's selling well doesn't mean they will just instantly jump ship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also the thing with like Bayonetta, for example, those same people that are complaining about Switch port for said game didn't even support the game that is identical to the game they asked for, i.e. Bayonetta 2.
Yeah,
so you guys gotta like chill out with that.
Yeah, I also kind of find it funny that they're trying to like, you know, hype up Bayonetta 3 and then also mock people wanting DMC5.
Yeah, same people that didn't bought the second game.
Yeah, it's like, to me, the way that I see it, it's, granted, I was doing that, but I was mocking them for hyping up rumors. There's a difference, you know, like, wanting a game as opposed to hyping up a rumor is, like, 2 completely different things. Because, I mean, I want Devil May Cry 5, but I also would like to play Bayonetta 2 still, and Bayonetta 3. Sega, please port those games to PC. I'm not buying a Switch for that. But you know, but my whole thing is that like in that whole situation, yeah, you know, the developer can choose whether or not they want to port certain games over to the Switch, and the HD collection probably wouldn't even be that demanding for the Switch. But then you also have to think too, like, well, they didn't really even get 4 special edition on Switch, so why would they even, you know, be getting the HD collection? That doesn't make sense, unless if they get like one whole big bundle later on, you know, and have like a later release date, and that's fine. But one of the other issues with the Switch ports too that I've noticed is that they get like one game physical and then the other games like digitally, you know.
Oh, you can blame Nintendo for that one, them having a cartridge though. I mean, it's not a bad medium nowadays, but you get what you pay for basically.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It kind of feels like I don't know, half-assed when they don't give you like 2 separate cartridges. But what can you really do? At least you get the games, right? But in that sense, I mean, I personally, I don't think a Switch port needs to happen for the HD collection. That's not to say that I'm saying no, people on the Switch should not be getting Devil May Cry HD, or any Devil May Cry for that matter. It's just more of a, hey, I just don't think that it's really needed per se. But if it happens, I mean, that's cool. People get to experience Devil May Cry, and that would actually broaden the franchise's player base even more, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Like I said though, I feel you guys, I understand, but because the Switch is selling well, it doesn't mean developers are obligated to port games on it like a hot fire. So you guys really gotta chill out with that. But look at the price side, at least you guys got Bayonetta, so I mean, it's not a total loss.
Yeah.
You got 3 games coming over one platform, so don't feel too bad.
Yeah, and you also get, at least from a Capcom side, you at least get Mega Man games, so that's also something.
So, you guys got something, okay? So don't feel bad.
Yeah, at least Capcom is giving you games, just not a specific game, or 3, but you'll be fine. You'll get 9 different games plus 3 more from Sega, so it's okay. So, on that note, any final thoughts?
Honestly, no. I just hope Capcom continues the good trend and not screw over the fans like they always do sometimes. You know what I mean?
I would like to see, as far as like, because they're doing a lot more ports, and I know we've been talking about that. For the love of fuck, Capcom, please just give me Onimusha HD collection. I know there's an issue with the likenesses and all, but just please. Hell, I'll even take digital PS2 to PS4 ports. Just please. I want to play it on the PS4 or PC at the very least. That's all I'm asking for.
Oh wait, I remember now. There's one more thing though. Capcom did say that more games are coming to the Switch, like the games that were never on Nintendo platform. So it's still possible that you could get Devil May Cry HD. So
that. Yeah, I mean it's a possibility. It could just be a thing of like they want to wait and release the other platforms first and then do like a later release, kind of like how sometimes games on PC get a later release.
Yeah.
So it's all a matter of just being patient.
Yep.
But with that said, where can we find you, Mr. Brandon?
Well, on Twitter at RKMagic4, but the name is subject to change by next year, so there you go.
Okay, and then you all can find me as biodevil_dom on Twitter, maybe Twitch if I'm alive, and YouTube. So I will see you all later. This has been an interesting discussion on various different Capcom news, and maybe we'll do like Bayonetta or something, because I know that's kind of a recent topic. So yeah, hope to see you soon.